All right, let's get right into it. JPMorgan, America's largest bank, just made a move so big it could literally reshape the next decade. We're talking about a massive 10-year commitment here. It's a huge signal that something fundamental is changing, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that means for the future.
Okay, just look at this number, $1.5 trillion. To even try and put that in perspective, it's more than the entire GDP of most countries on Earth. It's bigger than 2 full years of America's entire defense budget. Look, when a bank of this size moves money on this scale, it's not just another investment. It's a signal, a massive one. They're preparing for something big.
So that really brings us to the central question, right? Why is this happening now? What does a bank like JPMorgan see coming that maybe the rest of us don't? Okay, let's dive into this.
So the bank actually calls this their Security and Resilience Initiative. And this isn't a short-term play, it's a decade-long plan. The money isn't just going into the usual stocks and bonds. No, through a mix of direct investment, strategic loans, and underwriting, it's being aimed squarely at America's most critical industries.
And if you look at this list, these aren't just random sectors. Think about it. These are the exact industries that buckled the moment global pressure was applied over the last few years. They are, quite literally, the precise weak points this whole initiative is designed to fix.
To really get the why behind all this money, we first have to try and see the world through the bank's eyes. And from where they're sitting, the global system is just full of vulnerabilities that can't be ignored anymore. I mean, the last few years have just been one shock after another, haven't they? A virus stops global trade dead in its tracks. A single container ship gets stuck and blocks a major artery of commerce. The chip shortage brought entire car factories to a standstill. These weren't just isolated incidents. They were a rapid-fire demonstration of just how unbelievably fragile our global supply chains really are.
And this quote just perfectly captures the core lesson from all that chaos. As everyone watched these disruptions unfold, it became painfully clear that depending on other nations for essential goods wasn't just inefficient anymore, it was a dangerous national weakness.
So, okay, if that's the diagnosis, what's the prescription? Well, this is where the money comes in. This investment is designed not just to patch up the cracks, but to rebuild America's entire economic backbone for whatever comes next. This is such a powerful way to think about it. Semiconductors are the nervous system of our modern world. AI is becoming the brain, driving future innovation. Energy is the blood that keeps everything running. You just can't run a modern country without these things, and you certainly can't compete on the world stage without constantly upgrading them.
And this right here is the crucial point. It signals a massive shift in thinking. For decades, the answer to a crisis was always financial, right? Lower interest rates, inject some cash. But JPMorgan is betting that the next crisis is going to be a physical one. It'll be won not by the smartest financial trick, but by the countries that have the strongest infrastructure, the most advanced tech, and most importantly, control over their own essential resources.
And this isn't just some vague promise for the future. The bank is already getting ready to deploy an initial $10 billion, with a B, directly into strategic companies. We're talking about the companies on the ground, the ones actually building the chips, the energy systems, and the critical factories of tomorrow.
Now this is where we get to the biggest layer of the story. See, this whole initiative isn't just about fixing broken supply chains. It's a direct response to a massive geopolitical shift. A world that is just not cooperating in the same way anymore.
This chart pretty much says it all. For the last 30 years, the goal was simple: make everything cheaper. Outsource production, outsource refining, outsource shipping. But the world learned a very, very hard lesson. Cheap is fragile. Cheap can be dangerous. So the new goal is secure. And that really means rebuilding capabilities right here at home.
So don't think of this as just another investment. A move this big is better described as an economic restructuring. It's a deliberate, controlled shift of capital toward the sectors that are absolutely essential for national survival in a much more competitive and unstable world.
Because in this new era, the very levers of power are changing. A country's strength isn't just measured by its military anymore. It's measured by its control over technology, its access to energy, its supply of critical minerals. These are the new battlegrounds of global competition.
So when you put it all together, this $1.5 trillion initiative is so much more than just a big pile of money. It's a strategic tool with a really clear, multifaceted purpose for what JPMorgan believes is coming next.
You can really think of it in these 3 parts. First, it's a shield, built to protect the economy from the kind of disruptions we've all seen recently. Second, it's a bet
a massive wager that America will successfully rebuild its industrial base. And third, it's a roadmap, basically signaling to the entire market which sectors are going to define economic power for the next decade.
A move this big creates some powerful ripple effects. I mean, when the largest bank in America commits $1.5 trillion to these specific areas, everyone else pays attention. Competitors, investment funds, private equity, they all start to follow the money. This initiative won't just build projects, it's going to shift the entire direction of American investment, away from the digital world and back to the physical one, from apps back to factories.
And that leaves us with a final, really critical question. For decades, the whole world chased cheap and learned a hard lesson about its hidden costs. The pivot now is towards secure. So as this $1.5 trillion begins to reshape our world, we really have to ask ourselves, what is the true price of security?